Berries are superfruits, 3 servings a week, decrease cardiovascular risk by 34%. They're really important to consume in the diet. They have so many health benefits. And again, don't just eat blueberries or strawberries or raspberries, blackberries. Mix it up. And frozen is fine. Frozen is fine. These are because of the fact that berries are generally on the dirty dozen list. I would always recommend organic forms, and sometimes those frozen berries are more economical. You can add them to smoothies. They're just easy to use in that frozen form, and they're a little more economical as well. Blueberry intake lowers blood pressure. We've seen the same thing with grapeseed extract. Very effective measure to lower blood pressure. The simple recommendation, eating berries or taking a grapeseed extract can lead to complete resolution of high blood pressure in people with mild to moderate hypertension. Flavonoid-rich berries can improve mood. This was shown in young people, 20, 30 years old. Drinking a smoothie containing berries, it improved their mood and their ability to function mentally. And so this is an immediate effect, and that's what's interesting about some of these studies with berries, particularly in young people. The benefits are seen almost instantaneously. This is looking at cognitive function here, and we can see that the berry intake compared to the control group significantly improved mental function even after 6 hours. Basically reduced reaction time much more effectively than the placebo. Switching task activity greatly improved, accuracy improved, reaction time greatly improved, positive mood greatly improved. This is a study looking at the combined effects of berries and cocoa powder versus individual consumption of either of those two. And what they found was that, again, the combination produced better results. There's synergy among these flavonoid compounds. And we know that dark chocolate enhances cognitive function. This has been shown repeatedly. Dark chocolate enhances so many aspects of brain health. It improves blood flow to the brain. It improves the effects of the effects on your brain's ability to grab memories and perform in complex mental tasks. So this is really a wonder food for the brain. I like raw cacao better than dark chocolate, and I also take a cocoa extract that is very high in those flavonols. Dark chocolate enhances cognitive function over and over. White chocolate doesn't have that effect. It doesn't have the flavonols. Some people might like the taste. It's not going to provide any of those health benefits. There are so many reasons to love chocolate, lots of cardiovascular health benefits. We're going to talk about the effects on the vascular endothelial system. I mentioned those effects earlier. The darker, the better, 1 to 2 ounces daily. And it's interesting, the more you eat dark chocolate, the more you'll crave the higher concentration. So, you may want to start out at 70% and then move to 85%. And before you know it, you'll be like me and you'll prefer 99% or 100% dark chocolate. I mentioned endothelial cells. These cells act like little medicine chests. Endothelial cells line the blood vessels in our body. And these cells, if you laid them out flat, they would cover about the size of a soccer field. So they have a huge surface area in our body. And the function of these endothelial cells play a huge role in how blood is distributed, how oxygen is utilized, how waste products are eliminated. So they play a huge role in our overall health. And cocoa and other polyphenols, they exert so many beneficial effects. The net effects is that we enhance all of the beneficial compounds produced by endothelial cells, and we reduce the harmful compounds that are produced. We can then see that translate to better endothelial cell function. So we're going to see blood pressure reduced. We're going to see proper elasticity of that blood vessel. We're going to see better oxygen exchange. We're going to see less platelet aggregation, less clot formation. So we're going to see lots of great benefits through the action of these compounds on our endothelial cells. And endothelial cell function is one of the key features of cardiovascular disease. So when we look at the classic risk factors, all of these classic risk factors damage our endothelial cells: diabetes, high cholesterol, smoking, high blood pressure, aging, obesity, and physical inactivity. Other risk factors also damage our endothelial cells, things like insulin resistance, infection or inflammation, oxidative damage, high homocysteine levels, low omega-3 fatty acids, and elevated fibrinogen all lead to endothelial cell dysfunction. And when we have endothelial cell function, our blood vessels are just not functioning properly, and it leads to a prothrombotic state. So we're going to get clot formation. We're also going to get inflammation, and we're going to get proliferation of that plaque in that arterial wall. So improving endothelial function is one of our key targets in preventing and reversing cardiovascular disease, mainly atherosclerosis. The vascular endothelial cells, they function as a selective barrier to the passage of molecules and cells between the blood and the surrounding tissue. They determine the mechanics of blood flow. They're essential in capturing white blood cells and pulling them to areas of infection. They secrete all sorts of signaling molecules, including nitric oxide. And as I mentioned, they regulate platelet aggregation and inflammation. So flavonoids, many of them work via improving vascular endothelial cell function. Grapeseed extract, cocoa flavonols, these are among the most active in that regard. Low polyphenol diet alters vascular biomarkers. And this study was done in Spain, and they were randomly assigned to a usual diet or to a low antioxidant diet with less than 2 servings of fruit and vegetables per day, and avoiding high flavanol-rich foods like chocolate products, coffee, and tea for 2 weeks. The average American is eating an extremely low polyphenol diet. And what this study showed was that in these healthy men, when they switched to a low polyphenol diet, there was significantly decreased polyphenols in the urine. There was lowered nitric oxide levels. Nitric oxide prevents vasoconstriction. It prevents clot formation. And this increased thromboxane A2 prostacyclin ratio, this reflects increased inflammation. So a low polyphenol diet leads to inflammation. And We don't want that. That doesn't make us feel good. It makes us age faster, and inflammation is a key factor in most chronic diseases, including the big killers. So now, flavonoids in chocolate, they're typically these flavanols, and these compounds usually exist in longer molecules. In particular, there are also procyanidins, and I mentioned these as being one of the most important groups of the flavonoids. And we can utilize supplements to boost our procyanidin intake. And one of the best is grapeseed extract. Chocolate has a lot of research behind it. But I think from an economic standpoint, grapeseed extract is the most economical and provides the biggest bang for the buck. So all these benefits that I talked about with chocolate and cacao, I think taking 100 to 300 milligrams of a grapeseed extract is your way of ensuring you're getting these particular types of flavonoids in a really high concentration, and they're exerting those beneficial effects on the endothelial cell. Processing cacao changes the flavonoid content. That's why I like raw cacao better. Again, it's a better bang for your buck. Raw cacao is much higher in these active flavonols than you would get from eating dark chocolate or getting it from a cocoa product. Cocoa is different than cacao. Cocoa is produced with alkali and higher temperatures, and that reduces the amount of polyphenol. So raw cacao is, I think, just a great way to fortify your cocoa flavanol intake. This is a study in young adults, and you just all these benefits, you just don't really think of that. People don't think that, these sort of food components can produce these effects, but they do. This is a study in healthy men, 18 to 44 years old. They gave them a flavanol beverage with cacao flavanol, 150 milligrams versus a low one. And they had them perform some mental tests, and they measured blood flow through certain parts of the body. And what they found is that the high flavanol intake was able to improve blood supply, but it also had an ability to fight stress. And wow, that's very important. And stress has an effect on our brain, but it also has an effect on our endothelial cells. And by improving our endothelial cell function, we improve our brain function as well. So very important connection here. We all want to improve our quality of life. Here's a study showing that, boy, again, flavanol intake can improve the quality of our lives. And we're starting to see a theme here in terms of the level of these compounds. And so we need at least 150 milligrams. And I'm going to use green tea as an example for looking at the right dosage. When we look at these flavonoids sources, we see consistent results if a dosage is sufficient, and that dosage appears to be 150 to 300 milligrams per day. Significant improvement in quality of life scores with a flavonoid, high flavonoid consumption. Again, that's what we want. If you can improve the quality of your life, would you do it? Yeah, so you can do it by boosting your intake of these wondrous compounds. So this is a study looking at walking performance. They looked at how long people could walk without pain, and they followed this up with muscle biopsies and looking at the effects in a very detailed way. And my God, what an effect in older people with peripheral artery disease. Typically, when people have peripheral artery disease, they'll walk a little while and they'll have to stop because they get these really painful cramps. Well, taking and this is only 75 milligrams of one of the key flavonoids per day, and it changed the mitochondria. It changed the capillary function and blood flow. Improved blood flow to the calf muscle. It had a great effect, a very detailed effect. It changed. We already know that it improves brain health, but it also improves the health of muscle cells throughout your body, not just in the calf, but throughout your body. And one of the things that happens as we age is that we lose our muscle mass. I am proud. I have not lost that much muscle mass, and I've worked hard at it, but I think it's not just physical exercise for me. It's my diet, and I really have focused on eating a high flavonoid rich diet for over 45 years. And I think that's my biggest secret to feeling and acting and being younger. Okay, so the chemical structure plays a huge role in the pharmacology of flavonoids. Flavonoids are extensively metabolized in the microbiome, and the metabolites may directly, indirectly play a role in the benefits of flavonoid-rich foods. The microbe-derived flavonoid metabolites generally are better absorbed and in some cases exert more significant benefits than the original flavonoid. Okay, so what am I saying? I'm saying that it's not just the ingesting the flavonoids and having them being absorbed intact that provides benefits. When we ingest the flavonoids, gut bacteria will metabolize them, and these metabolites are responsible for many of the observed effects that we see from flavonoid consumption. And they found that they looked at the ability of different phenolic metabolites and intact flavonoids on in inhibiting this vascular adhesion molecule, which leads to the formation of an atherosclerotic plaque or progression of it. And there was no effect seen with the intact flavonoids, but the metabolites, 4 of the metabolites, exerted significant effects in inhibiting this formation of this molecule that is linked to atherosclerosis. So we know, I've stressed the importance of the flavonoids in influencing the microbiome, but it's a positive feedback. Flavonoids influence the microbiome, and then the microbiome in turn influences the metabolites of the flavonoids. So it's everything fits together here. It's beautiful. We use flavonoids to influence the microbiome, and in doing so, we change that microbiome in a way that we gain more benefit from the flavonoids, because the metabolites produced by these bacteria are much more active than the intact flavonoid. So this gives you all the reasons. If we have any chemists out there, microbes transform flavonoids through deglycosylation, ring fission, dehydroxylation, demethylation. So we can influence these metabolites being formed. Microbiome composition determines benefits from polyphenols. So, you may not see benefits right away because you may not have the right types of microbes in your guts. So you have to give it time, and you have to commit to a long-term approach here, because the more of these flavonoids you ingest in your diet over time, the more your microbiome will change to be able to gain the full benefits. So the microbiome composition determines the health benefits from polyphenols. That's profound. So we know that the flavonoids are very important in preventing cardiovascular disease. It does this through alteration of microbiome. It improves vascular endothelial cells. It reduces pro-inflammatory mediators. It reduces adhesion molecules. It improves nitric oxide formation. It inhibits compounds that promote high blood pressure. It inhibits platelet aggregation. It prevents the migration of cells into the middle of that artery to promote the atherosclerotic plaque. So lots of benefits in preventing. We know that these flavonoids promote brain health. It does this by enhancing the activity of the blood-brain barrier. So a lot of times people have a lot of brain fog because their blood-brain barrier is too permeable, and they're absorbing compounds from the gut and through the body that shouldn't be in the brain. So with flavonoids, we can tighten up that blood-brain barrier, and we can eliminate that brain fog. We also see really cool effects with flavonoids in improving formation of new brain cells, synaptic growth, and helping existing brain cells survive better, particularly areas that are susceptible to damage, like those areas of the brain that are linked to Alzheimer's disease. It reduces neural inflammation, and very important in protecting against Alzheimer's disease and other age-related brain disorders. Very important in fighting cancers, does this via multiple sites of action. Really one of our most important cancer-fighting phytochemicals in our diet, flavonoids. Again, get a variety, and don't forget green leafy vegetables are a rich source of flavonoids.